Hey there, it's Mark Yagi, and you guys have probably been watching a couple of videos this week about SpaceX. Not necessarily all from me, but I've put a few out telling you why there are some major risks in buying SpaceX on the IPO. I've showed you some history, I've showed you some reasons, some fundamentals. Today, I'm going to show you why it might be a really good idea to be involved in this stock. And as always, this is not financial advice, it's a high risk investment. Do your own research, all that kind of stuff. I'm just trying to educate here and I want you to learn from this. But by the end of this, you're going to have both ideas. Maybe I should buy it, maybe I shouldn't buy it, and you can make your own decision from that. But I'm going to give you some facts that you probably don't know or you may not know. It's a 300-page S1. There's a lot of information in it, and I've been burning through it a little bit here and there. But there's some interesting things that are going on. So let's start with it. It's going public Friday, June 12th. And it's going to be, the symbol is SPCX. And here's why the stock could rise after launch. The three things we're going to talk about today is engineered lockup design, which is actually quite genius, I think, massive demand and index flows, and then space and the growth narrative. Some other things that I've touched on the last couple of days, but are very interesting. So here we go. IPO snapshot is going to be almost a $2 trillion valuation. They're raising $75 billion, the largest IPO on record. It is oversubscribed, guys. So there's going to be a lot of buyers on Friday that want to own this stock. So it's quite oversubscribed. That means there's demand as soon as it hits the public markets. Retail is getting 30% of that initial float, which means retail is going to be involved in this, whether it's a good thing or not. And you can look at the revenues here from 9 billion to 13 to 19 billion. This company is growing, and that presents some issues. Growth presents some issues sometimes, but in this case, it's pretty good. Starlink is really right now the initial profit engine. It's going to be transitioning from Starlink to AI in space, but that's a couple years away. In any case, the profit revenue engine is 18.7 billion in revenue. Starlink is 61 to 69%, so they need to execute on that, but it's highly profitable. And you know what? They've already executed on it quite well. I've used the Starlink when I've done traveling, and I travel all the time. It's a really phenomenal product, and it's blanketing the Earth with thousands of satellites covering us all over the place with the ability to be on the internet. All right. This part is genius. And this is why, Elon Musk is playing a totally different game than the rest of everybody. And he can control the game that he's playing. He's not only smart in business, smart in engineering, smart in rocketry, he's also smart in capital. So the guy has figured out, okay, I had a dream a few years ago to put rockets into space. We almost failed. We succeeded. And now that we've succeeded, the company's worth $2 trillion. So the lockup structure looks like this. There are rolling tranches. That's different segments of a whole is all a tranche really is. And they roll at 7% per tranche. At 70, 90, 105, 120, and 135 days, which that's 28% of the total of the locked up shares. And then after Q2 2026, which is not too far away, 20% unlock unconditionally. Okay, so there'll be some shares dumped on the market at that point, plus a 10% bonus, more shares if their stock has gone up more than 30%. That's pretty interesting. That's telling us that, they want to engineer this so that the stock is up 20 to 30% from that initial public offering, which right now is about $135. Now, after Q3 2026 earnings, the additional tranche unlocks. It's another 28%. Then after 6 months, the rest of all the insiders can unlock. Now, except for Elon Musk and some of the key investors. Musk holds 42% of the equity, but 85% of the voting. So he's basically in control of this company. And if they end up owning Tesla because there's going to be some kind of merger, down the road, then he's going to continue to own the majority of this combined entity if all that happens. Now that's a big if. But he's got to stay fully locked up for a full year after the IPO. So he can't be dumping his shares on the market. I don't think he's going to anyway. He doesn't care about money, supposedly. And so we'll see what happens. But the idea here is to not dump shares on the market at a very quick pace like other IPOs do, but to meet them out in small tranches so that they don't dump on the market like what happens when big money dumps in IPO. So in a typical IPO, what happens is you get a big old pop from the first day's hype, right? That happens a lot on IPOs, and it could happen on this one. 180-day cliff expires and there's mass selling. The insiders sell. The people that have been waiting for all these years to buy their yachts now are dumping shares on the market because they may never get a better price. There's price pressure from the insider dump wave. And all this supply floods the market and it drives IPO prices down. Watch my video from a couple of days ago and I'll show you old IPOs that is exactly what happens in a lot of cases. So stocks will underperform oftentimes 6 to 12 months out. So it might take a while before IPOs to come back in those typical IPO scenarios. You can just look at the charts that I put up in those other videos. I highly recommend you watch those other videos that are on this channel. All right. But in SpaceX's design, they have gradual tranches to reduce the overhang. Extra shares only unlock on strength, not all of them, but some of them. Musk is locked in for a full year, which means he believes in what he's doing, and so do the other key investors. There's a smaller initial float, and that means that there's not so much supply dumping on the market. And it's structurally engineered for stability and upside. That's a beautiful design and a beautiful thesis going into Friday. So one design, basically the typical IPO invites the dump and the other one engineers against it, which I think is, quite genius, as I've said here before. So passive buying and index conclusion is another reason that there could be some real strength, some real demand for this. So it's getting fast track to get on the NASDAQ 100, the QQQ, and that's eligible after 15 trading days. That's really fast. Like usually they make a company prove themselves over years. This company, they're like, yeah, it's Elon Musk. Let's just go ahead and approve them. So that's after 2 weeks, really. Forced ETF inflows means that hundreds of passive trackers have to now buy to match those benchmarks. That means all the big indexes have to buy it. All the CalPERS and some of the pension funds are all in those indexes, and that's going to be additional buying pressure. And there's going to be constrained supply, right? Lockup structure means, like we just mentioned, that there's not going to be a ton of shares that are dumped on the market, and that supply and demand equation tends to be pressurized to the upside in this case, I think. We'll see. The structural buying pressure in the early weeks is going to be what's happening, I think. So this thing might just go off like crazy on Friday, right out of the gates, and the supply is still locked up, so there's not going to be a lot of downward pressure on it. So you might see an incredible Friday. It's going to be really, really fun to watch, and I hope you're going to be watching it. Don't FOMO in if you haven't gotten a position yet. Just be smart about this. Don't put all your life savings in there. Don't be crazy, right? This is going to move around a lot. There's going to be a lot of volatility. Now, let's talk quickly about Starlink, and I got a lot more to cover about this IPO, because Starlink, if you've never used it, is amazing. They've got 10 million subscribers, $11.4 billion in 2025 revenue last year, and 1 million more satellites planned. Did you hear that? 1 million satellites planned, okay? And they're talking about, and I mentioned this in one of the other videos, the vision here is that Starlink, and probably all the other rocketry companies that are going to be coming on the market soon, combined are going to be launching every 5 minutes. And you go, wow, that's crazy. Think about the airlines. How often do they take off and land? It's probably more than every 5 minutes, right? And the way that, Elon Musk has been able to engineer with his team, this re-entry and then, catching the thing in the air with tweezers, and putting it back in there and refueling it, sending it back up same day is right around the corner. Is pretty amazing. So Starlink is really the valuation story. They're putting up tons of satellites. They're taking in lots of money because they're getting tons of scale in their deployment of the satellites and people subscribing to Starlink, especially in a lot of other countries. We don't even think about it because we have all this fiber optic here. Other countries don't have anything. And so Starlink is really the only game in town for a lot of these other countries if you want to get away from cell phone internet. And so let's look at the third catalyst, and that is Starship and the future optionality of Starship. This is a fascinating part of the story, and it's not even making the news here yet. So first of all, I just mentioned the reusable heavy lift, right? So they've got cheaper dollars per kilogram or dollars per pound to orbit than anything else. Anything NASA can do, anything the Chinese can do, the Europeans, the Japanese, they are putting up tons of heavy lift satellites, and they're doing it without problems, without accidents. They already have a head start and a big advantage. NASA and the Department of Defense have also contracted with them. They've got a lunar contract. They've got all kinds of other missions going on. You saw Artemis happen earlier this year. Amazing stuff from the government. You want to have government contracts if you can. They're more stable. Orbital AI data centers. This is the big play. 6 months, a year, 2 years ago, nobody was talking about orbital AI data centers, but there's such a demand for chips and for compute and inference with AI that they need to be putting up more data centers. Now, whether those are terrestrial on the Earth, which Tesla and xAI is also doing, or up in space where it's really cold and you don't have to spend as much money cooling things, they're covering both of them, right? So now the Starship part of SpaceX is an additional revenue center to create more total addressable market, TAM they call that. And then they're talking about going to Mars and long horizon optionality that no analysts can properly price because we don't know what we're going to get out of Mars. Are we going to get a place to live, a place to manufacture? What are we going to get out of the moon? How do you price any of that stuff? But this is all the future stuff that's going on with SpaceX. And the talk of SpaceX is that Elon Musk makes billions and billions and, well, trillions now of dollars more because this company is going to be worth, within 10 years, they're saying $30 trillion. Now, today it's only worth $2 trillion. NVIDIA, the biggest company in the world, is worth just over $5 trillion. And this is going to be worth 6 times that, is what they're saying based on all of these future plans. Okay. Why could the price rise on Friday or right after Friday? Well, first of all, controlled supply, like we talked about. Then we've got strong retail and institutional fear of missing out at the opening bell. If you're watching people like me on the internet talking about SpaceX, you probably want to be a part of this, even though there are big risks that you've got to consider. Number 3, NASDAQ 100 inclusion is going to bring in more demand in the first few weeks. And then Starlink profitability, which is already there and it's continuing to increase. Starship, putting up more satellites in space, more compute and AI, that kind of thing. And the space narrative in a bull market moment. I mean, there's just all of the stars are aligning, no pun intended, for this company. And by the way, the valuation of this company is 94 times trailing sales. And now people are valuing IPOs based on not just trailing sales, but the vision for the future. So the premium could be justified by the growth if SpaceX can execute. And we'll see if that happens. Elon Musk, the knock on him is that he executes. He just doesn't do it on the timeline that he says he's going to do it. So we'll see what happens. This is going to be very interesting. Here are the risks that you got to watch. First of all, 94x sales is a big old valuation, no question about it. There could be some execution delays, Starship, regulatory approvals, a spaceship blowing up, anything could delay them, and that could put off revenues and things like that. Competition. There's stuff coming. Amazon's competing. There's Rocket Labs. There's a bunch of other rocketry companies, even other countries that are competing. OneWeb is already live, and broadband from space is now becoming a thing. It used to be just AT&T and Verizon and T-Mobile fighting it out, but now it's going to be, the space broadband race as well. AI division losses. So early quarters of orbital compute investment could weigh on reported profitability. It's expensive to put up satellites and space things. Late lockup tranches. Finally, when those shares come out on the market, it could depress the price of the stock. And of course, the market could go down like kind of it's doing right now. So there's always risks in the market. So this is a high risk investment. It's not like a layup for sure. Do your own research before you make your decision. Be smart. Don't like go all in and bet it all. It's going public, so there's going to always be another time to buy it, and maybe it's after some of these lockups. Who knows? What are the takeaways? And as we wrap this up, I'm excited about the takeaways. The bull case is that it's engineered for post-IPO strength. Good engineering in the lockups, good engineering in the supply-demand equation, and there's lots of profitability already. There's lots of future things going on. Big picture is amazing. It's a rare moonshot, quote-unquote, public opportunity that blends proven, growing revenue with transformative long-term potential. I'll tell you that we've never had an exciting thing in space like we have now, probably in the last 50 years. And so this is really cool, and we can be a part of it, which is great. Now, this is not financial advice. This is an analysis and education only. You're probably not getting this analysis in a lot of other places, but I'm glad you're here and taking it in, and you've watched me for all this. That's kudos to you. Pat yourself on the back for having to listen to me for 15 minutes or whatever I've yapped on about. But anyway, SpaceX is a high risk investment. Markets are unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen. You can consult your professional of choice, but past performance does not indicate future gain. Have I done enough disclaimers? I hope so. Bottom line is be careful. There's a lot of excitement here. There's a lot of risk here, and that always creates more excitement. Listen, we teach people how to invest in companies, how to be careful investing in companies, and also how to make income from them. We have a program called the Cashflow Machine, which is covered calls. And if you're interested in learning how to make income from the stock market, we teach that. And we don't just go an inch deep. We go an inch wide and a mile deep. So we really focus on covered calls and how you can turn that into an income investment rather than just buying the stock and selling the call out of the money like most people teach. We actually teach you how to do trade adjustments and things like that. So if you're interested in that, we are having something called the Income Accelerator. I'm excited about it. It's a program that I've put on several times. It's live 4 Wednesdays in a row. So information will be in the description. We have early bird pricing going on right now. I can't take everybody in the program. I can take a handful of people so that I can give you coaching and mentorship during that 4-week period so you can really learn how to do this and hit the ground running and use this program for the rest of your life, because you will. And once you figure out this stuff, you're going to love it. In any case, the information is below for the Income Accelerator starting here in a few weeks in July. Thank you for sitting through this with me. I hope you're as excited as I am about SpaceX. I don't know if it's going to go up, down, or sideways. I have no idea. I'm not Nostradamus. I can tell you one thing. It's going to be exciting, and I hope you're a part of it on Friday, June 12th, when SpaceX does go public. Let's have some fun learning about this one, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.